Okay, good. Good evening, everyone, and good afternoon to you wherever you're joining us live online. We are here in London, and we're very happy to welcome you all joining the IFA online branch meeting. With me here today is our guest speaker and our head of business in London, Jonathan Barber. Today, we are very pleased to welcome two distinguished speakers to speak on the theme Ethical Finance in Nigeria, Opportunities and Reward. My name is Olariwaju Sharafa. I'm the Regional Director and the IFA representative in Nigeria. To start with, I would just like to say that this is IFA's commitment to continuously engaging with its member, ensuring that members are up to date with relevant CPDs and making sure that we sort of support our members in Nigeria to be up to date about relevant topic. To do justice to this topic, I'm very pleased to welcome Professor Tajuddin Yusuf. Professor Tajuddin Yusuf holds Bachelor's of Insurance or BSc Insurance with University of Lagos, and he is a graduate of Loughborough University here in the UK, where he had his Masters of Arts, and also he had his PhD with Nottingham Business School. Sitting side by side with Professor Tajuddin Yusuf is our brother, Malam, a guest speaker, Malam Ibrahim Fali. Malam is a chartered accountant, certified forensic professional, and of course, a chartered management professional. Just to let you know the order, I would like to invite Professor Tajuddin Yusuf to give his opening shot around the topic, ethical finance in Nigeria. Professor, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure indeed to come and talk on such a topical issue in ethical finance in the world today. Like you're all aware, the need for ethical finance has become vociferous based on the ills of the existing conventional system that we have, whereby those who have the gap between the have and the have not is continuously increasing. And despite the immense investment in conventional terms, it is yet to deliver the desired effect and impact in the well-being of the rich and the poor. Now, the call now is to have an ethical financing. An ethical financing has its core foundation in religion, and the message of all religions is morality. So if we want to have a world of social justice, order, and welfareism in the real sense of it, we've got to give a thought to ethical financing. And like all the major religions of the world, Islam and Christianity, you agree with me that morality is the core of all of the teachings of this religion. And when we talk about ethical financing in Islam, we are talking of the avoidance of interest, the avoidance of interest, the avoidance of speculation, undue speculation. We are talking of avoidance of gambling. We are talking also of unethical concerns. We have regard for ethical concerns, whereby we can really actualize the well-being of society. And what is at the core of Islamic ethical financing is development. We are talking of development. We are talking of shareholders' activism. We are talking of the environment. We are talking of global and community development in the real sense of it, where where social justice and all practices that are injurious to man, his environment, are done away with. So with Islamic ethical financing, you agree with me that this has its foundation from the Quran and the tradition of Prophet Muhammad and the consensus of Muslim scholars. So with this, we can have a just and balanced world whereby brotherhood, because we are told that there is no need for discrimination on races based on racism or sexism or what you call tribalism, which is very much pronounced in most parts of the world today. So we need to go to ethical financing, and that is what the Islamic financing is offering to the whole world, whereby there's going to be a sharing of risk and reward, profit or loss. We talk about risk sharing as opposed to risk transfer in the conventional system. So with ethical financing, we can begin to say yes, the world is heading for a good deal. And if you also look at in the Islamic banking, looking at the country like Nigeria, this is a very much desirable project now, because the poverty rate is very huge, and a lot of people they are underinsured, they are underbanked, or they are not even banked at all. You talk of a huge population of about 200 million citizens, and only about 10% of them or 30% of them have anything to do with the financial system. And you have about 10% of them having anything to do with insurance. So, and what has led to this huge gap is the absence of justice in the existing conventional system. And this ethical financing of Islam comes into the fray and says, no, we've got to make finance available, and let's give everybody access to ethical financing, whereby when you borrow money, you are not under the pressure of delivering or getting the risk transferred on your head, but rather you and your lender you see yourself as partners that are sharing the risks. You also see yourself as working for the partnership, not for the other party who has the money. The guy who has the money shouldn't expect reward if he's not engaging in any risk. That is the law in Islam, and that is a very just principle that is embedded in Islamic ethical financing. And if you look at the harm that alcoholism does to the human race, it is forbidden in Islam, or ethical financing of Islam, that you will have anything to do with alcoholism, because this destroys human beings, and when the intellect cannot function properly, you hardly can get any good from such an individual. So Islamic ethical financing is saying that both the owner of the capital and the worker are partners. They are not antagonistic to one another. They see themselves as brothers. They see themselves as helping one another. Then you also look at the issue of the environment. Islam so cares a lot about the environment. Any production that is detrimental to the safety of the environment is forbidden. It's forbidden in Islam, because the environment is where all of us will live, and the environment must be able to guarantee safety, security of all individuals in the society. So we've got to be
Professor, Professor, that was a very detailed opening remark. And before you go further detailed into your slide, can I also ask Malam Ibrahim to give a short insight into what he would consider to be faith-based or ethical finance, please? Yeah, Malam, over to you.
Okay, hello, good evening. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to come and talk about ethical finance. Is a topical issue which a lot of researchers are looking into. When we talk about ethical finance in Nigeria, hold a great potential, especially in this era where most of the stakeholders and investors are fully aware of the direct benefit. When you talk of the ethical finance, you have to talk about the ethical itself first, the importance of the ethics, then what the ethics hold. When we talk about the ethics borders on the acceptable moral behavior, morality, and tend to answer the question: how should individual and how should an individual behave in a work environment? And there are values for the ethical. When we talk of the ethics, there are fundamental principle, core principle of the ethics, which a business owner or a businessman or a agency has to work with. What are those things are? The integrity of the business, which is the one of the concept of the ethics, the objectivity, number three, the confidence of the person who doing the business. And number four, we are looking at the confidentiality, how confident the person is with the dealing of the information of his clients or his organization or is a boss or is a management staff, Then number five, we are looking at the professional behavior. These are the concept that borders the ethics. Then when we talk about the ethical finance describes the totality of the business transactions, which considers not only the financial return, but also the social, environmental, and the governance factors of it. When we talk about the social, we talk about the environmental social, the social, how the company have the people in their own organization, within the community where the company is reside. Then we talk about the environmental. When you talk about environmental, we have how the company clean the environment, sanitation, how they make the sanitation, how they make the environment clean. Then we talk about the governance. Do they have a code of governance in place which guide them, which tell them what to do, and how the community also benefit in that code of the governance. So these are the brief of the ethical and ethic finance, and I'm going to talk about it when you give the time for me.
Thank you, Malam Ibrahim. I like the idea that you're trying to approach ethical finance from the ESG lenses, and I think I want to a very large extent, that investors are, very much paying attention to ESG factors. But I would like to go back to Professor Tajuddin Yusuf, who is looking at ethical finance from faith-based point of view. And I would like Professor to take us through his detailed slide where he touched very much on, Islamic finance, ethical finance, and faith-based financing in Nigeria. Professor, over to you with regards to...
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My presentation is going to address the description of ethical finance, description of the key values that ethical finance promotes, ethics in business and social life, and what kind of institutions provide ethical finance services, explaining the sustainability of ethical finance. Then I'll also, at the final part of my presentation, look at opportunities for ethical finance in areas such as in consultancy and entrepreneurial for entrepreneurs, ethical financing opportunities for entrepreneurs. Then we'll look at what that can do for Nigeria and what it is currently doing, and how can we promote these opportunities for all and sundry. Now, ethical finance is, or what you call non-interest finance, despite its name, is not a religious product or service restricted to Muslims alone, but a series of financial products developed to meet the requirements of specific group of investors. Not only that, ethical finance is built on principles that uphold a positive ethical message derived from the Holy Quran, the Sunnah or the traditions of Prophet Muhammad, moral considerations, fair and just trading practices. This includes the avoidance of riba interest and uncertainty, gharar, contractual and legal uncertainty, as well as leniency to debtors, where the borrower can prove mitigating circumstances. It also avoids investments in forbidden commodities, such as alcohol, tobacco, and companies whose debt exceeds 1/3 of its assets. We mustn't have anything to do with such organizations. Then, ethical finance is built on these principles which I've mentioned. But at the same time, we must also look at the key values that ethical finance promotes: community development, shareholders activism, global development, ethics, as well as the environment. These are the key values that ethics promotes in Islam. And that is why you have 5 major propositions of Islamic ethical financing. That is the preservation of the faith, religion. If Sudi, you have the preservation of the person, life, preservation of life. 3, preservation of the intellect. 4, the preservation of posterity. And 5, the preservation of wealth. These 5 things must be preserved, and they are the core of the values that are derivable from Islamic ethical finance. So we must promote faith, because religion is what binds man and his creator. We must promote life, because man is created to perform or he's been assigned some responsibility in this world, and his life is sacred. Life is sacred in Islam. You mustn't do anything that will be injurious to life. You must do things that will promote and improve human well-being. Not only that, you must also guard against anything that could affect the human intellect, because the intellect is one of the most important creatures of the Almighty. The intellect of man must be protected, must be preserved, because once man loses his intellect, he becomes irresponsible. He becomes not, he will not be responsible to himself, and he will also become a cause to the society. So that is why Islam forbids the consumption of alcohol. Not only that, Islam talks about preservation of posterity. We must care about the environment. Anything that could be injurious to future generation must be avoided by all means. That is that. Then, lastly, is the preservation of wealth. Money must not be wasted, and it must be earned through legitimate means, and it must also be dispensed through legitimate means. How you make money and how you dispense with money are important in Islam. That is why Islam forbids theft, stealing. Islam forbids grabbing of other people's ones, dispossessing them of their property right. Islam talks a lot about private ownership. So we mustn't do anything that will tamper with private ownership. Now also, if anybody steals in Islam, there is a punishment assigned for that. So it is forbidden in Islam. So you must not earn or acquire wealth through an illegitimate or immoral means. How you acquire wealth and how you dispense with it are equally important to Islam. So we must also talk about the environment. The environment is the creation of Allah, of God, and we must not desecrate the environment. And we must not do things that will be injurious to the well-being of other human beings in the society. Then what are the main principles of ethical financing in Islam? That is, wealth must be generated from legitimate trade and asset-based investment. Risk should be shared between the capital provider and the expertise. Under Islamic finance, capital and labor are conceived as single factor of production. Investment should have a social and ethical benefit to the wider society beyond pure return. Prohibition of speculative, gambling, extreme risk or uncertainty and interest are the main principles. So also, contractual obligations and disclosure of information are sacred duty, which we must not tamper with. Then, what are the main features of ethical finance in Islam? The underlying principle behind Islamic finance is the distribution of wealth by regulating the free activities of the market for the collective benefit of the society. Islam believes in free trade, creation of wealth, and true private ownership as the means of production. The basic features of Islamic finance are summarized as principle of justice being an essential requirement for all kinds of Islamic financing. The financier and the beneficiary share the actual profit or loss if the contract is equity-based. Not only this, the components of Islamic finance are in various areas. You have informal Islamic microfinance, semi-formal Islamic microfinance, formal Islamic microfinance, zakat and sadaqah institution, waqf endowment institution, Islamic mortgage bank, Islamic commercial bank, sukuk or Islamic bond market, Islamic capital market, and Islamic takaful, Islamic insurance. Now, there are tools or instruments of financing in Islam. You have salam or deferred agricultural produce, whereby as a farmer, you can earn from the harvest before you start planting, whereby farmers need finance to buy the seeds, the tools of farming, and to pay for labor. This can be guaranteed through salam, whereby you'll be given a specific quantity or the amount of tons of the particular crops you want to produce. You have sales-based contracts, which is called murabbaha, or cost plus sale, bayu tawaruk. Then you have lease-based contracts, which is ijara, lease-based contracts. You have equity-based contracts, which are mudoraba and musharaka. You have fee-based contracts, kafala, wakala, which is agency, then hybrid contracts, which is musharaka mutanaskiso, or what we call diminishing partnership. Now, we also have, on top of this, there's what we call the Sharia Advisory Board. This is one significant difference between ethical financing in Islam and the conventional system. The availability or the presence of the Sharia Advisory Board. The Sharia Advisory Council or Board is the only council that examines the validity of application, and screening of Islamic financial products. It also issues Sharia resolutions and decisions relating to both Islamic capital market and Islamic banking in Nigeria. The Council will not approve any instruments and activities that are contrary to Sharia principles. So you have the Sharia advisors overseeing the activities of ethical financing as embedded in the Islamic banks and financial institutions. So every Islamic or ethical financial institutions must have the presence of scholars, Muslim scholars, who are the Sharia advisors, ensuring that product designs do not violate Sharia principles. Product marketing does not violate Sharia principle. Product distribution does not violate Sharia principles. They must ensure that the ethical basis of the Sharia is not compromised in the offering the organization is giving to the members of the society. Then, what are the benefits of this? Furtherance of financial inclusion. You know, the ethical financing in Nigeria improves financial inclusions. According to the IFA survey, about 64% of Nigerian youths are unbanked, hence their economic activities are not properly recorded in the GDP. Most of these categories of people are from the northern regions of the country who subscribe to religious beliefs, which does not allow them to participate in interest-based financial activities. With the introduction of Islamic banks, insurance, and asset management companies, many of them could be captured in the financial sector. So we also have other institutions that are springing up. Recently, the government, the federal government of Nigeria, offered to the members of the public a sukuk bond to manage the infrastructure deficit in the country. And this sukuk bond, first time it was 100 billion, second time 100 billion, the last time it was 150 billion. And it was these bonds were oversubscribed, and that was used to build roads, schools, and other infrastructures that the country is seriously yearning for. And that was possible, particularly after the COVID lockdown. The government could not realize most of its budgeted revenue. So Sukuk came to the rescue of the government. Sukuk came, and finance were made available with less itching at all. So you now have Islamic funds, and you have Islamic real exchange investment trusts that are now not only relevant in Nigeria, but all in the other parts of the Muslim world and non-Muslim world as well. So now I want to go to the area of what entrepreneurs can benefit, the opportunities for entrepreneurs in Islamic finance. You see, the jobs are not there, but somebody who has expertise in ethical financing of Islam can be employed and can add values to a lot of sectors in the country. They can add values to a lot of the sectors in the country if they can utilize the opportunities that are begging to be tapped. And in this area, I'm looking at the area of consultancy that those who have expertise in Islamic finance can afford themselves. For instance, you have you can generate income or have income earning opportunities for Islamic finance professionals. The first one, I'm going to mention about 16 opportunities that can be explored. The first is Islamization of Muslim private organizations. You know, Islamization of Muslim private organizations. You know, the person who has expertise in Islamic finance, who has the knowledge and the skills, can register a company that does this conversion of conventional Muslim organizations to benefit from its ethical financing as promoted by Islam in the area of preparation of for the orientation to Sharia compliance, financing and expenditures, and ethical marketing. You know, you can render a consultancy service in that area. Then you also have Muslim cooperatives, whether cooperatives, conventional or Muslim or cooperatives dominated by Muslims. You can register a company that does render this consultancy service to them in the area of education, of what are the objectives of Sharia, investment of members' contributions, financing of the economically active poor, Qard Hasan benevolent loan, where people collect loans and they only pay back the money they received without any addition of interest. Then you can also establish what we call ideological market, whereby you leverage on the number of Muslims to set up a market, whereby they do trading, buying and selling among themselves. So you can render what we call a consultancy for people in that area. There are a huge market for this. Then the third one is zakat bodies. You can register a company that will be rendering zakat consultancy in the area of zakat. And that is, first of all, you'll be searching for potential zakat payers. You'll be doing zakat calculation for them, collection and distribution, and investment of some of the money to improve the lifespan of such organizations. Then you have number 4, the area of mosque management. You know, you can render consultancy services to Muslims in the area of mosque management. What is the role of the mosque in the life of Muslims? Creating departments for the mosque, management role of imams and other administration, raising funds for the running of the mosque, financing the needs and running of the mosque, and management activities and projects for the mosque. Then you have what we call number 5, micro-takaful. Micro-takaful is by like establishing micro-takaful for mosques and associations, orientation programs for mosque attendees, members, setting up the operational modalities for running the project, monitoring the realization of the objective, or working with existing takaful outfits so that every member at their micro level can be insured to cover their basic risks. Then you have 6 investment companies. You can register a company that will be advising people on investment opportunities, advising on Sharia compliant investment outlets, you know, because it takes a skill to be able to advise people where to invest and what to look out for in any investment. This is an area that is begging for entrepreneurs to explore. Then number 7, Islamic microfinance banks. You know, you can consult for people in the area of setting up of meeting CBN guidelines of operation, licensing, recruiting, and training of staff, and marketing of the ethical products. Then number 8, marketing for Islamic financial institutions. Attending, that is where we say, where our Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals, we do a lot of training programs for whoever will be like to be consulting for Islamic financial institutions. Then also developing Islamic marketing manuals. These are areas that are begging for
Professor
people.
Professor
Muslims
Tajuddin
to
Yusuf, I'm mindful of the
whoever is
time.
interested.
I'm mindful of the time.
Yeah.
Can I request that you please send us the list of these opportunities, because I suppose one of the things that our participant would like to see are all the list of these opportunities.
Sure.
And I'm very happy you mentioned.
Yeah, as soon as I finish.
Yeah, so I'm happy you mentioned.
Yeah, I will send it to you.
Yeah, I'm happy you mentioned the area of consultancy, in the area of the Kafir, mosque management, and providing, advisory services, governance services to Islamic outfit or Islamic windows or Islamic organization. Let me quickly go to Malam Ibrahim, and thank you so much for that powerful and detailed lecture into a faith-based ethical finance. Let me go to Madam Ibrahim. As you know, Professor, I've touched base on several areas around faith-based and Islamic finance. What are your thoughts around opportunities that are available? What are your thoughts around the rewards that comes when one tend to think about faith-based or ethical finance?
Okay, thank you very much. The opportunity for businesses in Nigeria, especially looking at the ESG, if an organization comply with the social, environmental, and governance, it will help them in a many ways. Number one, if an organization has a social community social responsibility where it helps the community people are benefiting from that industry that's been located in their own area in terms of employment, in terms of roads, in terms of electricity, in terms of the water, in terms of the helping them in many ways. So the opportunity for them, if the organization is doing this one, a lot of people will tend to patronize that particular organization because of their corporate social responsibility in the community. Number two, looking at the environmental aspect of it, the environmental aspect that if the waste, like for example, there's a company located in a particular area and there are a lot of waste because of the production due to the productions. Then the company has a waste management in place, which they are doing their best, and the environment they clean the environment. They do all the best to make sure that that environment does not affect the community living within them. That will also help them in getting some opportunity in the sense that people will patronize them more because of their compliance with the environmental laws. They're looking at the governance aspect of it. If you talk about the governance, we talk about how the company policy, laws that govern the companies. People will look at them. Each company has their own law governing the company. They will now look at it first of all. They say, okay, let's look at the people that are around the area. Will now want to know the governance report of that particular company, and what are the things are doing, what are their laws, and what are their laws that are governing, and what I intend to do to the community that are living within their own environment, within the company vicinity. So this is also a very important for them, for the company, because that will now bring more customers. The reward will come in a more, the product, people will be buying the product, people will be patronizing it, people will even tell other people in another place to come and buy the product. As well as some people, they can even wanted to invest. The shareholders will now want to invest in that particular company, and is an opportunity for them. And the reward is always coming as in form of a profit. That's when people patronize more and more in that particular organization, the reward will come in form of profit. But then the profit that is the aims of the manager, is to maximize the shareholder fund. But apart from that one, we are now looking at, the stakeholders are more important. Apart from the ESG is looking at the stakeholders are more. Not only the profit, the shareholders who are, their aim is to get more profit. But what are they doing in terms of the paying tax to the government? The government will now say, yes, this company is paying tax, is doing their best. Therefore, we need to help them in fixing the light. We need to support them in drainages. We need to support them in, these are just opportunity towards what they will get from the government. And then the community also. The community also, there are a lot of things they will do that can bring the opportunity, like I say. But looking at the issues, apart from that opportunity, looking at the issues in finance, such as the financial reporting, we have said what they can do and what are the bad things that can bring a bad image for them. We have the financial reporting and analysis, which is window dressing. If they do the window dressing, there was no opportunity for them. But if they are not doing window dressing, that means there will be an opportunity for them. They are now presenting their financial statement in true and fair view. Window dressing in the simple term is to manufacture figures that are not actually true picture of it in the organization. Like if you say asset, the organization has an asset of 10 million, then the accountant may tend to now say, no, we will have 1 billion naira asset. Is to
Hi, Jonathan, can you hear me?
is not that 1 billion. They might have only 100 million. You see, that is come in. Apart from that one, they might increase the number of their debtors. They might increase the number of their creditors, while actually they might not have the creditors. And ethics will say that do whatever thing you want to do. Morally, do it the best. If we have one creditors, let it be the one creditors. If we have one debtors, let it be the one debtors. We should not inflate the number. We should not increase the number in order to attract the externals. Then number two, we are talking about asset misappropriation, as like I already said about the asset. Then number three, we are looking at the disclosure concern. The disclosure concern we are talking about here, looking at the ESG, we expect each and every organization to be ethically fair, to disclose the corporate social responsibility, to also disclose the environmental the environmental part of it, the social responsibility, to show that yes, we have a law guiding the environmental. Also the governance now, in each of their report, we want them to disclose the social, the environmental, then the governance, so that we can see their plan, we can see what they have, what they are doing for us. Like I want to give you an example in Maiduguri, in Calabar, in Jos. When you go, you can see a banks. They would as the part of their corporate social responsibility, apart from the employment, apart from the drainage or drilling of borehole, you will see we can go to some roundabouts in the city. You can see that maintained by Bukuru, one company, maintained by so bank, maintained by so company. In some state they even have light they give to the community. Community are paying little amount and they are getting constant light. So
Ibrahim, thank you so much for how you have approached ethical finance, which sort of sit closely to my own area of research, which is looking at ethical finance from ESG. And I want to agree with you because obviously investors are now much interested in investing in corporate entity or investing in corporation, not only because of financial return, but of course because of the fact that they want to put their money in companies that pay attention to environmental, social, and governance. And this is a little bit of departure from how Professor Tajuddin Yusuf looked at ethical finance, where he is looking at it from faith-based investment. He approached ethical finance from faith-based investment, which one would refer to as Islamic finance, and then you approach ethical finance from the ESG point of view, in which case you spoke about companies' commitment to environmental factors, commitment to social factors, and commitment to governance factors. And one of the things I often say is that corporations that show commitment to ESG are too good to fail. That is, it doesn't mean that such commitment may not necessarily bring issue, but such companies that show commitment to ESG are too good to fail. And it's also interesting to note that ESG, it's an issue that sits around the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, and which is one thing all of us, or majority of corporations and institutions have shown commitments, and countries have shown commitment to. I want to thank you so much for that insightful and that powerful thinking. I mean, it was nice the way you look at it. I'm really mindful of time, and I still want to give Jonathan Barber, who is a business development head for here in London, the opportunity to speak to us and tell us around some few words, share some few thoughts around the IFA Global Project, membership and education. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, once again. Jonathan, over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. And can I just extend my thanks to Professor Tajuddin and Malam Ibrahim for their contributions this afternoon and this evening. It's been fascinating listening to their opinions and their views. If I just give mine, you know, I look at this from an ethics perspective, and maybe from the perspective of an internationally recognised professional body. And for us, it's about having and maintaining a code of ethics that our members and accountants globally follow and adhere to. The accountancy profession, I think, is trusted, is respected internationally, and behaviours and behaving ethically are real fundamentals. You know, accountants are trusted advisors. They must be independent, and the reports and the information that they provide should be, you know, true and fair. So, you know, whether it be social, environmental, whether it be talking about disclosures, reporting, investments, absolutely, you know, ethical finance has a part to play. For me, I think for the Institute, it's about the ethical behaviour of accountants and members. But you know, thank you to both of our guests and our speakers this evening for their contribution. I just wanted to touch upon what we are trying to do for members locally in Nigeria. We're looking to provide relevant support. We're looking to enhance and further our reputation in country, whether that be at a government, whether that be at a professional body, whether that be at an academic level, and through the workings with and alongside Mr. Sharafa, we will continue to build those links and recognition. But if I bring it back to a practical level, for both members and non-members, I wanted you to be aware that we have and we will hold a series of CPD online branch events throughout this year. So the dates are there for you. April, June, August, October, December. Please visit the Institute website to register for those. Please spread the word. If you found this evening's session fascinating, relevant, interesting, insightful, please tell your colleagues, please tell your acquaintances, please tell accounting and finance students. We have to build the individuals, the accountants for the future, and the Institute will play its part in that. So please, from a local perspective, there is ongoing CPD. We are an international body, and I think it would be wrong if I didn't invite you and suggest that you looked at the Institute website for internationally focused CPD that is coming up over the next few months. We hold in the UK, like we are holding now for Nigeria, branch meetings. There's one next week on the 16th of February. There's one on the 24th of February. A special invite for all of you, though, and especially members, the Institute's Chief Executive, alongside one of the Institute's board directors and our London branch ambassador, are holding a webinar next week on the 18th that is looking back and looking forward. Where's the Institute been over the last 12, 24 months? Where is it now? Where is it going in the future? But we're looking for members' insight. We're looking for members to take part in that session. So please do register, do join us on the 18th of February. If anybody's wanting to gain or build knowledge in and around certain areas of UK taxation or certain areas of financial reporting, accounting treatments, there are specific series and webinars that we're hosting and holding as well. We're all unfortunately finding life slightly difficult at the moment because globally we have the COVID-19 pandemic. We hope you're well, we hope you, your colleagues and your families remain safe, but we are looking to the future. And we very much believe that by the summer of next year, we will be back able to hold a full day international conference in London that we want members and non-members from across the globe to attend. So advanced warning of the London International Conference that will take place on the 16th of June next year. Other matters, members, non-members, we look for your feedback, your recommendations, your support. So please, if you've got comments, if you've got ways of helping and assisting, please make contact with Mr. Sharafa, your local representative. There's an email address there. He's extremely proactive on LinkedIn. So if you're not already following him, you should be. But that's another way of making contact with him. But please, your feedback, your support, your recommendations are needed. CPD, we're here this evening because of continuing our professional development. It's vitally important. Please, as a member, maintain that. Please, as a professional, ethical finance professional, maintain that. As an institute member, you have a commitment to, over the 12-month period from January to the end of December each year, you need to complete 40 hours of CPD. My final sort of matter or request is members. We are in that renewal period. We've been in it for a while. If you haven't yet renewed your membership, please do so. If you are having any difficulties or issues, please contact your representative or the Institute membership team. Renewing, though, is about doing two things. It's about making that or paying that renewal fee, but it's also about completing your member declaration. Both are vitally important. For non-members joining us this evening, one last slide, Mr. Sharafa, I promise. But for non-members joining us this evening, who are the Institute and how might we be able to help you? We are an established international professional accountancy membership body with heritage. We were established over 100 years ago, but we have a clear focus and a differentiation from other professional bodies. On an international scale, we only support members, accountants and accounting students who are operating within an SME-sized organisation, a small and medium enterprise, or we support members who own, run or work within a small and medium-sized accountancy practice that are providing services to the SME community. We are part of a global group, the Institute of Public Accountants of Australia group. We currently have 40,000 members and students across the globe. We have plans and we have very sort of dynamic and robust plans to grow that membership and student number over the next 4 to 5 years to have 50,000 members and students globally. We are a growing, proactive, relevant professional body. Behind all of that, if you aren't yet a qualified accountant with a IFAC full member body recognition, we have an education program that can be completed and studied online, regardless of your location in the world. Our education program is called IFA Direct. It's made up of 14 units. Study, tuition, assessment, examination is all delivered online, hugely pertinent and relevant in the COVID-19 times we find ourselves in. So please, if you would like more information about the Institute, about our education programme or membership, talk to myself or please talk to Mr. Sharaka. Larry, thank you very much indeed for giving me a few moments to talk. It's a pleasure to join you and our members and non-members in Nigeria this evening.
Thank you so much, Jonathan Barber, for everything that you do to sort of push the accountancy profession globally, especially giving us the opportunity to also key into the project that IFA is, putting out there for all over the world. We're proud to be part of IFA, and Nigeria is especially grateful to you and the CEO of IFA, Jonathan Edward, for allowing us to also tap into the benefit. But before we go, I'd like Professor Tajuddin Yusuf within 1 minute to give his closing shot, and also Malam Ibrahim Fali to also give a 1 minute closing shot. There's a question here. Okay, fantastic, CPD. Thank you so much. I think Akim, there's a gentleman who also has a question. His name is Akim Lawal. I don't know, Linda, can we take question? Can we allow Akim to speak? Or can we allow, those who want to speak, let's just hear from them. Professor, can you, in under 1 minute, can you give a closing shot? 1 minute, a closing shot. You're on mute now. Do you want to unmute yourself and give a closing shot for 1 minute? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My closing shot will be to encourage all and sundry to take active interest in ethical financing, because that is where the world is going eventually. And then it also acts as an alternative to the conventional system. And it has a lot of resilience in that it is backed by asset, not by speculation. And it is what can deliver the real growth and development that most parts of the world are yearning for. With the COVID-19 that is currently ravaging the world, we need another alternative or a kind of a complement to the existing conventional order. And that is what ethical financing can guarantee, knowing fully well that it stands on what I call triple tripod of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And with this, the whole world are going to have a fair dealing by patronizing ethical financing, by studying it, by applying it, by promoting it, and by investing in it for the greater goal of the whole world. Thank you very much.
So much, Professor. Malam Fali, can I have your closing shot in 1 minute, please, Malam?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My closing shot in 1 minute is that I'm calling on all the companies, the business owners, to make sure that they invest heavily in corporate social responsibility, the governance aspect, and then the environmental aspect of it, and to make sure that all the ethical, they should hold on to their ethical standards, and to make sure that all the things that need to be disclosed, they should disclose, so as the stakeholders will make use of the available informations, and also they themselves, they will have the opportunity and reward that they are yearning for and they are dreaming of. That is my remark to the business holders and the company corporate organizations.
Thank you so much. Very much. Thank you so much, Malam Fali, on behalf of the Institute of Financial Accountants UK and of course the Nigerian branch. I want to thank you, Malam Fali. I want to thank you, Professor Tajuddin Yusuf, for taking time to speak to us this evening. I wish that in future, if you call on you, you will definitely answer us. And thank you so much, Jonathan Barber. Any closing remark before we go, Jonathan?
I think there was one other question about when was the next CPD. So I've put the slide up from a Nigerian perspective. We will send these to attendees tomorrow, but locally the next CPD event is on the 29th of April. If somebody's wanting to look at that international CPD offering, they'll see that on the slides that are sent next week, there are a number of events taking place. So hopefully we've covered that. I think there's a question about arranging an event with the Islamic Finance Institute of Nigeria.
Yeah.
I've taken a note of that, and maybe that's something that you and I could
discuss
offline. But yeah, we can look into that on behalf of the attendee who asked that particular question. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for attending. I've seen some hand up, but I don't know how the technology works. I suppose it just allows you to type your question. So it might be something to look at, Jonathan. In future, we might allow delegate to speak and just to ask their question. So Akeem, I don't know how to go about it because I have the IFA admin in London monitoring the webinar. So if you can just email me your question, Zalia, Zakari, please do email me your question. Henry, email me your question. I will pass it to Malam Fali and of course Professor Tajudeen Yusuf, and I will get back to you. Thank you so much once again for attending, and then everyone, bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Yeah, bye.